The winter season is officially over now, and it was definitely one for the history books. My social feeds, week after week, were being completely blown up with these infographics about ratings on how high all these animes are performing week after week. And it was pretty insane. I can't think of a simulcast season that has scored much higher than all these ones I've been seeing lately. There was consistently multiple episodes from different series scoring over a 9.0 rating, with some even scoring 9.7 or higher. It was truly a great time to be watching anime. What's poppin', guys? You're champion here, and today I'll be discussing the 2026 winter simulcast season. For the contents of this video, I will be discussing the events that took place in each of the animes that I'm going to be talking about. So I will make sure to let you know when to hop off if you don't want those spoiled. There were 5 different anime that really stood out this season and were truly works of art. Those series were Fire Force, Oshinoko, Hell's Paradise, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Free. These are the ones that I didn't drop at any point this season. They are consecutive weekly watches. But speaking of series I dropped, here are the ones that were hyped up, but I just could not get into at the time. Dead Account, Fate Strange Fake, Sentenced to be a Hero, and My Hero Vigilantes. I'll go over my reasonings for each briefly. Sentenced to be a Hero had an hour-long first episode, and it was fabulous. It left a good impression on me. It had a good story, the episode left off on a good note, and the MC kicked some major ass. It felt like a movie, honestly, but I feel like that was its biggest flaw. It almost felt complete and not worth watching after that because the pace slowed down quite a bit for me with the following couple episodes, and it was at that point where I just dropped it. Dead Account. Through ratings, it had a few solid episodes, so I checked it out. And I will say, the premise of the show seemed super cringe, so I dropped it because of that. Fate Strange Fake. There was a couple episodes prior to this season, on top of new episodes weekly. I wasn't sure if I needed to watch the older ones before the new season. It was all kind of confusing, so therefore I just didn't even waste my time. My Hero Vigilantes. I struggled to finish the last season, and for that reason, it made it hard for me to even try to start this new season, so I never gave it a shot. If I am wrong about any of these anime, and you think that I should give them a chance again, let me know in the comments below. Before I get into talking about the 5 series that blew me away this season, I just want to state that my ratings came from the IMDb website, and that we will be diving into spoiler territory from this point on. We'll start with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. This season had 7 episodes that ranked higher than a 9 out of 10, with 3 being over 9.6. If you've watched, I'm sure you'd know that it was Maki taking out the entire Zenin clan, Yuji and the Himori fight, and Yuta's battle to close out the season. That one got a whopping 9.9 rating. And that was absolutely insane. I will say, these episodes were all done really well from a production standpoint, and it had several moments where it was done so cinematically that only the people who study film could really appreciate it. They utilized silence, almost let the scenes pan out in real time, instead of cutting the in-between out, allowing the viewer to feel the suspense build. The fights were choreographed perfectly, and it was honestly a masterpiece and a real experience to watch. I'd say between JJK and Demon Slayer, they both forced the industry to raise their animation standards, and this is a perfect example of that. And JJK has raised the bar with that yet again. It is hard to describe the difference between Demon Slayer and JJK's animation because both are done so well. But the only way that I can really describe it is that JJK is a little bit more cinematic and has more artistic shots. This season introduced the Culling Games, but it seemed like it's not even close to being over, so the next season should be pretty good and filled with some crazy ass fights. Fire Force. This one I was hyped for because in the last simulcast season, I got caught up with it and then kept up with the simulcast, all going into this final arc. Overall, they really did this series justice, in my opinion. The fights were really good, the animation did not disappoint, and it left a good taste in my mouth after finishing it up. Ratings-wise, it had 6 out of 12 episodes with a rating of 9.0 or higher. The top ones being the Benimaru fight with his doppelganger, and then Arthur vs. Dragon fight. And oh my god, that fight got me hyped up beyond belief. And then the ending of a few episodes later, where you see his sword float by and his hand grabs it, I absolutely lost it. So I'd say Arthur stole the show, honestly. Not uncommon for a side character to do that, like Yuta and JJK, but it's always fun when they do. I've always known that Fire Force was connected to Soul Eater in some way, shape, or form, but the last 2 episodes finally shed light on that topic, and I thought it was one of the coolest transitions to a different show that I've ever seen. We have movies or seasons that take place prior to the events of the main story, like the Zero movie for JJK, but seeing the entire Fire Force storyline and world go from that to Soul Eater's world was a smooth transition. done really cleanly, and was a great watch. I really like Humea as a character, and to see her be the main villain at the end was satisfying. I like the symbolism of the crown over her face, and when it wasn't, and plus at the end of the show she was hella cute once all the despair was lifted from her. Honestly, this was my favorite show from this simulcast season, and I was really impressed with the series as a whole. Now I have to rewatch Soul Eater. Free Run Beyond Journey's End. I'd hate to say it, but this season is too overhyped for me. It's enjoyable when the fights are going on, but the in-betweens are just not for me. It's not that I'm a shonen guy and I need action 24/7, because I don't. I watch shoujo and rom-com animes, and I enjoy them just as much as the action-packed ones. The pacing is slow, and I struggle with the monotone voice acting. By no means am I trying to throw shade to the voice actors, because I'm not. It's just her personality, and they do a good job portraying that acting. The ending of the season was great when they encountered the sorcerers that were investigating the village that was just wiped out. There were only 2 episodes that ranked higher than a 9, and that's surprising to me. One was when they were hired to polish his statue, and the other one was when they encountered the demons in episode 8. Based on the ratings, it seems like my opinions of the show are relevant to most of the community too. It's good, but not great, and it does have its high moments. This is the last one of the 5 that I would try to watch every week. I kept hearing about Hell's Paradise prior to this simulcast season, so I binged it just before it started. So I was going into this newer season fresh and still living off the hype. And I will say, it delivered. The story was interesting, the fights were good, and it had some very fun, unexpected plot twists. Ratings-wise, it had 4 episodes over 9, and this is where I feel conflicted with the ratings. I think this was a solid show, it just was not popular. It had good character growth for everyone, and even made you like the supposed villains/criminals that were brought to the island. Speaking of that, I think they had a good balance of having the good, bad characters and the babysitters, as I call them. It wasn't super lopsided, and I can appreciate that. This season they learned how to use Tau and use it against the Tenzin. I liked how they introduced new conflict when there was already a bunch of it. I'm talking about the shinobi and the officers coming to the island and causing an all-out war. It left you on a cliffhanger in the middle of the madness, and I'm okay with that. It'll make it more hyped for the next season. Oshi no Ko. I will say the first couple of episodes were slow, introductory almost. But once some drama started, I was all in. And then the murder of a famous actor by the dad, Aqua spilling the beans about their relation to Ai, and then a devastating breakup with Akane and Aqua. I like her a lot, and I'm sad to see that he called it off with her because I cannot stand the redheaded chick. She's so annoying to me. Sadly, I feel like he'll end up with her at the end because she's been involved with him since childhood and she's obsessed with him, and I feel like that can't be helped. Another big thing that happened was Ruby and Aqua told each other who they were in their past lives. More so, Aqua figured it out and needed confirmation. But it was a heartfelt moment, and what comes to follow is where a lot of people disliked the part of the show. So hear me out. I think that it was cute for what it was. At face value, you see Ruby being lovey to Aqua, kind of like how a girl would act to a new boyfriend. But there's a lot more depth to it than that. Ruby's entire motivation to becoming an idol was to draw the attention from the doctor in her previous life because he was so special to her. She didn't know that he was the one reincarnated with her as Ai's twin, and you had that complex dynamic to the series. When she finally found him, it turned out that he was reincarnated as her brother. So she spent the last 15 to 16 years in another body working for this goal longer than she did in her past life. She had a lot of mental trauma from the neglect from her mother and then the physical restraints she endured, and she basically got to relive a childhood again in a better body and a much better situation. She was able to do what she dreamed of in her past life. Where I'm going with this is that she still was a child at heart. She's overfilled with joy, and it comes out as her being lovey to Aqua, and it's not reciprocated back to Ruby. I'm not trying to support this brother-sister complex because that's not right. I don't agree with it. If that's your thing, you do you. I won't throw any shade. Given their situation, that's kind of why I thought the whole thing was kind of cute. It's not like that irregular magic anime where the sister just loves her brother outright. Sabrina loves the doctor. She spent her whole new life searching for him when he was right there the entire time. And I can't say it enough, it was just a cute moment. Now, it would stop being cute if they were to go any further, and she doesn't move on. So this whole thing was a season ender in an hour-long episode, and it didn't hit that hard for me. I guess I've been numbed down from all these other shonens this season that this drama closer didn't hit as hard. At least they didn't leave us on a horrible cliffhanger. So those are my thoughts on the shows that aired in the 2026 winter simulcast season. Did you watch any shows worth commenting about? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. Peace.